6 months later, that morning, Ling was busy in the kitchen. After finishing the gym session that had become part of her morning routine, Ling rushed into the kitchen with renewed vigor. Opening the recipe app on her phone, she checked the ingredients that had been prepared since the night before. Today, she planned to cook a healthy breakfast for Orm that was different from the usual. Ling wanted to make sure that the food Orm consumed was not only delicious, but also full of nutrients, essential for Orm's health and that of his unborn child. Since the news of Orm's pregnancy 4 months ago, Ling's attitude has slowly changed. She has become more protective, even more attentive than before. Everything related to Orm is now her top priority. Ling always pays close attention to Orm's diet, making sure the food he eats is nutritious and balanced. If she felt she had paid enough attention to Orm before, now everything felt more in-depth. Every detail, no matter how small, received his attention. Today, Ling decided to try a vegetable omelet with low-fat cheese and fresh avocado slices on top, a healthy and delicious option for breakfast. She chopped the vegetables carefully, making sure everything was prepared perfectly. While cooking, her thoughts drifted to how to keep Orm from getting exhausted, how to ensure that this pregnancy goes smoothly considering how difficult it was for them to succeed in the IVF program, and how she would be a good parent. Often, she would ask Orm if he was comfortable, if there was anything he was missing. Little things like this brought Ling even closer to Orm, as if the presence of the baby in Orm's belly deepened their relationship even more. Orm's soft voice from the direction of the kitchen door made Ling turn his head for a moment, his smile not escaping his lips when he saw his wife approaching. "Can I help you?" asked Orm in a caring tone, his eyes radiating warm affection. Ling shook her head with a smile. "No need, dear. It'll be over soon," she replied calmly, trying to convince Orm to stay seated and rest. However, Orm, who saw Ling struggling with some of the ingredients on the kitchen table, didn't stay silent. He slowly walked over and picked up another spoon to start helping. "Here, let me help," he said softly. Ling's hand quickly grabbed Orm's, stopping the small gesture in its tracks. "Baby," she whispered, her tone of voice so soft and full of worry. "You just sit down. Let me finish this myself. I don't want you to move too much. What if your stomach hurts again?" There was a sense of trauma on Ling's face, remembering the incident yesterday when Orm suddenly felt pain in his stomach while he was busy working. His absence from home at that time added to Ling's anxiety, making her now more cautious in every matter concerning Orm and their child's health. Orm sighed softly, trying to calm Ling down with his explanation. "Yesterday I just had a mild cramp, probably from sitting and watching TV for too long," he said soothingly. "The doctor said I should move more to keep our womb healthy." He tried to reassure Ling that occasional light movement would make her feel better. Ling stopped her activity for a moment, gazing at Orm's bulging belly with a loving expression. Slowly, she placed her hand on Orm's stomach, as if communicating directly with their baby. "I know, but I don't want anything to happen to you or our child," he replied in a soft but sincere voice. At that, Orm smiled and placed his hand over Ling's, giving her warmth and reassurance. "I understand that Fi is worried," he replied softly, his eyes shining with tenderness. "But trust me, I will take good care of our child." The words were enough to make Ling nod slowly, the worry in her heart slowly subsiding. "I trust you," she said in a calmer tone. But this time, let me finish the cooking myself. It's a special menu for you, dear," he added with a meaningful smile. Hearing that, Orm smiled and leaned in to give Ling a small peck on the cheek. "Okay, I'll wait for the cooking to finish, Fi," he said sweetly before moving to the dining table and sitting down, while watching Ling, who was again busy with the cooking in the kitchen. When the omelet was fully cooked, Ling arranged it on a plate with fresh avocado slices on the side. Slowly, she brought the plate to the dining table and placed it in front of Orm. "Breakfast is ready this morning," Ling said excitedly. "Whoa," Orm murmured with sparkling eyes as Ling placed a plate of omelets in front of him. The fragrant aroma of the dish instantly whetted his appetite, making him look forward to tasting it. "The smell alone makes me want to try it quickly," he said enthusiastically, his eyes full of admiration for Ling's cooking. Ling smiled and sat beside him, her gaze soft. "Try it and let me know how it tastes," she said with a nod, waiting for Orm's comment. Slowly, Orm took one bite and popped the omelet into his mouth. His expression changed. His lips formed a wide smile, and his eyes sparkled brighter. "This is delicious, darling," he exclaimed, giving 2 thumbs up in front of Ling. Admiration was evident on her face. Ling, who had been holding her breath waiting for Orm's response, finally smiled in relief. "Is it really that good?" she asked again to make sure, wanting to know if the taste was as expected. Orm chuckled, his eyes still sparkling as he replied firmly, "Of course, I like it a lot." He then took another bite, savoring each bite with a big smile on his face. "I'm glad you like it," Ling whispered as she looked at Orm with satisfaction. Seeing his wife eat so well was a joy for him. After a few mouthfuls, Orm lifted his fork and thrust it towards Ling. "I want to try some too," he asked, eager to share. Ling shook her head softly, declining the offer with a smile on her face. "You eat it, dear. You eat, dear. Pregnant women have to eat a lot," she said gently, motioning for Orm to finish the meal without hesitation. Orm chuckled at Ling's concern. "All right, I'll finish it then," he replied with a loving smile. Ling folded his hands on the table, watching Orm eat with great relish. Every bite Orm took made Ling even happier. She remembered the time before Orm got pregnant, when his wife often ate quite small portions. Now, Orm ate more, although sometimes he was picky because of the pregnancy, which made his appetite change slightly. Orm, who was enjoying Ling's omelet, suddenly remembered something, making him stop eating for a moment. He looked at Ling with an intent gaze, then called out in a soft voice, "Tiruk." The call made Ling smile a little and turned all her attention to Orm. "What's wrong? Are you full?" she asked in a concerned voice. Orm sighed softly, as if searching for the right words. "Me?" He paused, his eyes looking at Ling's face as he waited patiently for his answer. "Can I go for a walk with Priking, View, and Milk today?" he asked softly in a cautious tone. Ling frowned, looking at Orm more seriously. "Go for a walk where? Just the 4 of you?" she asked, confirming Orm's plan. Orm smiled a little, as if trying to reassure Ling. "I'm bored at home, so I wanted to join them for a walk. Besides, it's been a while since I've seen them," he replied in a soft voice, hoping Ling would understand his desire. Ling was silent, her expression serious. Her brain began to think about the good and bad of allowing Orm to go, especially because of Orm's pregnant condition. She wanted to make sure Orm was safe and not exhausted, but on the other hand, she also knew how important it was for Orm to socialize and unwind. Seeing Ling's hesitation, Orm leaned closer, looking at her with those puppy eyes that often make her melt. "May I, dear?" He coaxed as he grasped and moved Ling's arm, hoping to convince her. Ling stared at Orm for a few seconds before letting out a long sigh. "Okay, you can go with them," she said, giving into the pleading gaze she couldn't resist. A small smile was painted on her face, though it was clear that she was still a little worried. "Yay!" Orm cheered happily, then without hesitation hugged Ling tightly and gave her a warm peck on the cheek. A happy smile was clearly visible on his face. However, before Orm could get too excited, Ling added in a firm voice, "But you can leave as long as one of them can pick you up and take you home safely. Also, you have to keep me posted along the way, okay?" Orm nodded vigorously, a confident smile gracing his face. "View is already willing to pick me up and take me home, so Fi doesn't need to worry. I'll also make sure to keep you posted so Peeling can rest easy," Orm replied reassuringly. Ling smiled with relief at Orm's thoughtful reply, but he still gently rubbed Orm's hand, as if to emphasize how much he was worried about his safety. "Then, take care, dear. Take good care of yourself and don't get too tired, okay?" Ling said in a gentle yet caring tone. Orm smiled happily, pleased that Ling understood his wishes while still caring about his health. "Thank you for understanding me. Fi, I promise I'll take care of myself and not make you worry," he replied, clasping Ling's hand tightly. That day, fresh air greeted Orm as he stepped into the mail with "View." It had been a while since Orm had last spent time at the mall. His pregnancy made him spend more time at home because he often felt tired, and his friends were also busy with their own lives. Even Ling, who was a celebrity, rarely had the leisure to accompany him on his walks. Walking hand in hand, Orm followed View to the area where Priking and Milk were waiting. Orm's face looked happy, as if he wanted to enjoy the day to the fullest. "You're finally here," Priking enthusiastically greeted Orm and View upon their arrival. Milk, always full of curiosity, immediately said, "It's unusual for Peeling to let you out of the house, Orm." Orm smiled and explained, "I managed to persuade her. Besides, I've been hesitant to go out myself because of my mood swings during pregnancy. Plus, the first 2 months were so nauseous." Priking smiled, placing his hand on Orm's belly, as if welcoming the life growing there. "Your belly is getting bigger. We're going to be aunties in a few months," she said with a chuckle. Milk was curious too, so he placed his hand on Orm's belly. "Have you felt the little one move yet, Orm?" "I still haven't felt it in Love's 1-month womb," she asked. Orm shook his head as he explained. "Usually the baby starts moving at 5 to 6 months of pregnancy." Milk nodded, slightly disappointed. "So I still have to wait a few more months, huh?" he muttered. View, who had been silent, suddenly said, "Take it easy, Milk. A few months will definitely fly by if you wait patiently." His words made the others turn to him. "That's right," Priking said, "though not everything we wait for ends well. Does it, View?" Orm, who saw View's face, immediately tapped Priking on the shoulder, reminding him, "Don't bring that up again. View just broke up after years of dating. Don't talk about fresh wounds," he said gently. Milk tried to divert the atmosphere. "That's enough. Let's go around the mall now. I can't wait for his invitation. I'm Jugal. Let's go." "Let's go," Orm replied excitedly. He held View, who was still looking glum. While Priking and Milk had started walking ahead of them, they spent hours exploring the mall. They watched movies, shopped, and enjoyed every corner that caught their eye. Eventually, hunger pangs set in and they decided to fill up at a famous sushi restaurant inside the mall at View's suggestion. Once they arrived, they chose a seat and immediately ordered a complete sushi package for the 4 of them. As they waited for their food, there was a moment of silence as everyone was engrossed in their cell phones. Suddenly, View placed his phone in the center of the table, leaving Priking, Orm, and Milk confused. "What's wrong, View?" asked Priking curiously. "Look at this," replied View, pointing to his phone screen. The trio looked at View's phone screen, which displayed an article about a new GL Girls Love themed movie to be produced by CH3 on the poster. It was clear that the movie poster featured a woman named Yoko Apazra and Lingling Kwong as the leads. Orm's expression instantly changed. Milk looked at the surprised Orm and asked, "You didn't know about this, Orm?" Orm shook his head slowly, taking a deep breath. "I knew he had a new movie project coming up, but he never mentioned it had a theme like this," he replied. "Oh," Priking, View, and Milk looked at each other, realizing something that might upset Orm. "Looks like there's going to be a world war after this," chirped View in a fairly low voice. "STT, don't say that," Milk admonished as he put his hand over View's mouth. The atmosphere was suddenly quiet. Orm just stared seriously at View's phone screen, discouraging his friends from starting a conversation. "Order coming," exclaimed Priking suddenly, trying to break the ice as their food arrived. View took the opportunity to grab her phone from Orm's hand. "Come on, let's eat. I'm so hungry," she said cheerfully, hoping to lighten the mood. Orm, still visibly agitated, just stared silently at the food in front of him. He took a small piece, but didn't say much more. His gaze returned to his phone, his fingers busy scrolling through the screen as if reading something on it. The clock struck 7 in the evening when Ling finally arrived home. After bidding farewell to her assistant, Best, who left immediately after dropping her off, Ling was surprised. The house, which was usually full of sounds, was now quiet, as if it were uninhabited. "Orm, honey," called Ling, her voice echoing through the room, but there was no answer, no movement to indicate Orm's presence. Ling frowned in surprise. At this hour of the day, Orm was usually awake, sitting watching his favorite TV show, but this time, the house was quiet, even a little different from usual. Ling walked slowly up the stairs, trying to shake off the worry that was starting to set in. "Did he fall asleep early?" she muttered as she turned the doorknob of the room upstairs. When the door opened, Ling found Orm sitting against the headboard of the bed. However, Orm was silent, focused on his phone without welcoming Ling's presence. A feeling of relief and worry mixed in Ling's heart. "How was the walk earlier? You're okay, right?" she asked in a worried tone. Ling reached out, about to touch Orm's cheek, but unexpectedly, Orm shied away, leaving Ling stunned. "Huh, what's wrong? Did I do something wrong?" she asked, confused. Orm remained silent, his eyes glued to his phone screen. Ling sat on the edge of the bed, thinking hard, trying to remember what she might have done wrong. "Oh my," Ling suddenly remembered something. "Oh, I'll go buy you a milk tea now, okay?" she said, trying to cheer up. "No need," Orm replied finally, but his voice sounded flat, cold. Increasingly confused, Ling looked deeply at his wife. Did I really make a big mistake? She asked softly. Yes, Orm finally spoke up, his tone louder than usual. Why didn't you tell me that you accepted GL's movie project? Why didn't you ask my opinion first? Is my opinion no longer important to you? A number of questions poured out, reflecting Orm's disappointment. Ling paused for a moment, then picked up her phone. Staring at the screen, she tapped her forehead, realizing that today was the day CH3 released the poster for the new movie she was starring in. Oh, about that. Ling scratched her head, feeling nervous. Let me answer them one by one, okay? I'd like to hear it, Orm said in a flat tone, looking at Ling expressionlessly. Ling swallowed, trying to string words together carefully. I didn't ask your opinion because I thought you'd agree, just like the other projects I took on. So I immediately accepted Kandu's offer. Orm stood up from the bed, looking at Ling sharply. I never agreed to Peeling being in a GL movie, he said firmly. Ling was even more surprised. Huh? Why, I thought you wouldn't mind. Because it's just like any heterosexual movie I've ever been in. Because I don't like Peeling doing physical contact with another woman, exclaimed Orm, his voice rising, reflecting the jealousy he felt.